Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys making some time out of your busy schedule to spend with me watching the video. Always very grateful for that. Guys, today I'm going to give you my state of the sport for 2024. Going to sort of reflect back on what's been going on the last year of the sport, and sort of give you my opinion on where it's headed and where it's at right now. And also, I'd be really curious to get your guys' opinion on this too, to see where you guys think it stands at as well. Also, guys, before we get started here, man, every video, I want to give you guys a huge thank you for everybody out there that supports Intuitive Angling here by using all my links in the description, the Solar Bat links, the Tackle Warehouse links. Guys, by using and bookmarking those links, that's the best thing you can do to support the channel. So I just wanted to give you guys a big thumbs up to everybody that's helping the channel out here. Big thank you for me and my family there. Much appreciated. Okay, guys, before I start into this, inevitably, I'm going to hear comments. Oh, Randy, you're just bitching and complaining again, Mr. Negative, blah, blah, blah. I hear it all the time. I want to preface this by saying, guys, there's nobody that loves the sport of bass fishing like I do. I have literally been in this since I was a little bitty kid. I'm ate up with it. I love bass fishing. It's been my life. I love this sport, and I want nothing but the best for the sport. And the reason I want to do videos like this is to bring awareness to it, because one of the biggest dangers that we have in anything in life is that if we deny reality and we don't confront issues, that never turns out good. It always winds up undermining what we're trying to protect in the meantime. So you can stick your head in the sand when you're talking about some of the things that I'm talking about in this video. You can deny it. You can, pretend that it's all rainbows and unicorns, but it's not going to help you out any. The only way that we're going to ensure the sustainability and the betterment of the sport for future generations is to acknowledge the challenges that the sport has. And that's the point of this video, why I wanted to do that. So I'm going to tell you guys right off the bat, it ain't good. The state of the sport that we are in right now, for everything that it has out there, there's a lot more things out there that are negative and destructive and threatening to the sport than there are positive. Now, there's always, you can always look the other way, and you can always, choose to ignore the reality of the situation. But I sort of want to bring that to the forefront a little bit, because I think the good parts of it are pretty obvious. I mean, being out on the water, enjoying the water, everybody enjoys that. But there's other things that are a lot deeper behind that we want to get into in the video. First of all, this is going to be sort of a wide-ranging talk here. One of the biggest things about bass fishing that I love more than anything else, and what most people love about fishing, especially some of the older guys out there, is that connection to nature and the serenity that you have by being on the water. The being in tune with nature, which is sort of a cliche, but it's true. But when you're out in the environment of the natural world fishing out there, and you're hearing the birds and you're feeling the wind on your face, you're hearing the wind rustle the leaves out there, there is a therapeutic healing element to that you can't deny. And in everybody that I fish with, and I have fished, guys, with thousands of different people throughout my life, the one common thread that I see amongst everybody out there is that appreciation when you get into lakes that have that connection with nature. One of the things that we have right now, as far as the state of the sport, is we're losing that connection. The unbelievable acceleration and rapid development in and around the lakes that we have across the country is undermining that very therapeutic environment that we have. This is one element of it, one of many we're going to talk about. You guys have heard me talk a lot about, excuse me, I got these dang allergies. I'll be coughing and sneezing on the video. You guys hear me talk a lot about how the developers have just completely destroyed and are raping Table Rock Lake, that, bulldozing hilltops off. They're, putting nutrient overload into the lake from all the fertilizers from the lawns. They're just destroying the very aesthetic beauty of the lake that brought people there to begin with the bulldozers, clanging up rocks and knocking down trees every day that you're down there. And this goes on all over the country out there. So from the standpoint of the state of the sport, from the aesthetic, therapeutic, healing nature viewpoint of it, we are rapidly losing that every single day all over the country. Because anytime I talk about Table Rock Lake in that term, people relate stories to me all the time about how it's happening on their very lake. And the problem that we have with that is we don't have adults in the room, and we don't have regulations in place that curtail or limit this unchecked development we have. Most of these lakes across the country, you have developers that they're basically in bed or in tight with the Chamber of Commerce, people that issue the building and zoning permits. It's like the fox garden, the hen house when it comes to development on these lakes. That's one big element with it too. The next state of the sport that we have a real problem with is how this sport is rapidly becoming an elitist sport, primarily from a competitive standpoint, a tournament standpoint. Yeah, if you're a non-tournament angler, it doesn't have to be an elitist sport. You can go out, you can get you a 14-foot flat bottom and put a 5-horse motor on it, and be very economical with that. But if you are a tournament angler and you have any designs in tournament anglers, we have this. For all practical reasons, professional bass fishing is an elitist sport. It costs over $100,000 a year to compete in the tournaments, over $100,000. We got bass boats now that are regularly over $100,000. We got guys out there with $50,000 worth of electronics on their boat. There's been no regulations or limitations on how much money that you can spend on equipment, as far as, I'm talking primarily about boats and motors and entry fees and tournament type expenses there. And it's basically pricing the average guy out of the sport of professional fishing. Hasn't always been like that. Back when I started out, you could do it anyone could do it if you just wanted to. Entry fees for the top level tournaments were $600. Bassmaster Invitationals, where all the classic qualifiers came out of. Brand new fully rigged bass boat, state of the art bass boat, was $15,000. This was back in the late 80s. It was just a lot less expensive to fish as far as the equipment goes. From that standpoint, I don't see it stopping. It's like, I remember when bass boats first hit $20,000, and I remember telling a couple buddies, it's like, nobody's going to pay $20,000 for a bass boat. And now every single year we saw them hit $50,000 and $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, and now if you go to a boat show, you got a fully rigged top of the line bass boat, almost any model out there, over $100,000, which is absolutely ridiculous that fishermen are paying what, people before, the millionaires and country clubs buying Mercedes and BMWs and that type of stuff are paying. It amazes me to go to these tournaments and see these dudes rolling up in 2024 Ford F-250 tricked out diesel trucks that cost $80,000 and $100,000 bass boat towing it. It's like, we have effectively become an elitist sport. There's no speculation behind that. It is. Professional bass fishing is an elitist sport, without a doubt. That's one aspect of it. The other aspect of the state of the sport that we've harped upon forever out there is this unregulated, exploding, completely out of control technology that we're seeing in fishing. We still have not had a tournament organization, a major tournament organization. There's some smaller ones there's smaller tournament organizations that have become adults in the room and have banned forward-facing sonar from their tournaments. But still, the major tournament organizations refuse to do it. They refuse to give in to the money that is subsidizing the tournaments from the electronic companies. And in essence, what we're doing is we're not only enabling this financial disparity that they're encountering or creating, but it's contributing to making this into elitist sport. On top of that, this entire forward-facing sonar, and even more importantly, the technology that is being developed as we speak, that is completely unregulated, it is completely morphing our sport into something unrecognizable, completely out there. It's like, when you think in terms of bass fishing, and you think in terms of the heritage and the tradition and the fair chase and everything that people grew up loving about bass fishing, that the last year, guys, that has been effectively removed from any type of tournament competition. There are over 99% of the major tournaments anymore. I don't care if they're in Florida in 3 foot of water or Highland impoundment in 100 foot of water, they are one spotlighting for bass, which is cheating in my opinion. I'll say it to anybody out there, forward facing sonar is cheating. It may be legal, technically in rules, but when it comes to ethics and morals and integrity within the sport and the entire premise of fair chase, forward facing sonar technology is cheating. And we have normalized that. And the problem we've had here is you've got a segment of the population that controls the narrative in this country, which are the major tournament organizations, and a handful of the media outlets that report and follow tournaments. They have normalized this, and they're almost like they're in bed with the tournaments and in bed with the electronic companies. And as a result, we have completely morphed our sport into something that's not even recognizable. And what it's done out there, it's in addition to everything that we talked about in the sport out here, it has kneecapped every angler out there that has spent decades honing their craft and perfecting their craft to the point now where they're never going to win a tournament. All these guys out there, the perennial classic qualifiers, the hammers out there, with the exception of maybe 1% of the freaks out there that are just so far advanced above everybody else, they're not even in the same category. But over 95, 98% of the pros out there that are household names, that are hammers, that have, dominated the sport up until the past 2 years, they're never going to win another tournament. It's over with. All you dudes out there, all the shallow water power fishermen, heroes out there that everybody has followed the last 10 years will never win another tournament again. Tournaments will continue to get won by younger and younger anglers that people do not know, simply because how adept they are at using technology. They don't have any bass fishing skills. They're just adept at the technology with that. So from that standpoint, what it has done to the state of our sport, it has diminished it unbelievably. When you take the combination of how technology is running our sport, the environmental degradation that we have, the financial disparity that's being unchecked within this industry, all that type of stuff puts the position of our sport in a very weak position. Now, here's one people say, well, what can you do about it, Randy? What can you do about it? The tournament organizations they are the ones that have got to take the lead in this, because let's say, for example, with exploding prices on boats and motors out there, all they would have to do is say, okay, guys, we're rolling back the clock. We're going to go you're limited to a bass boat that is no more than 19 feet long. You're limited to a 150 horse outboard. You're limited to one electronic unit on your console, non-live scope, one electronic unit on your trolling motor, and that's it. Right off the bat, that would reduce the cost of your boats tremendously out there. The same with the technology. They can regulate that. They can make that a more level playing field, but they refuse to do that because it's just a blatant display of apathy or irresponsibility or greed. I don't know what it is. I mean, it's just maybe a combination of a lot of different things. But when I hear somebody within a tournament organization say, better get used to it, this forward-facing sonar is here to stay, that just makes my skin crawl. That just makes me say, you're the most ignorant, apathetic, unconcerned, unaware individual I have ever seen in my life, if that's your attitude on this technology that's undermining our sport out there. So anyway, guys, from my point of view out here, when you're talking about the state of the sport, it's not in good shape. I mean, you can twist it around, and you can point out the bright spots in it, which there are bright spots. I mean, fishing is still great. It's still fun. I still have a great time when I go fishing, but I'm not concerned about myself. I'm not concerned about anyone else that in here and now in this time and place we find ourselves. My concern is what we're handing off to the future generations. We have got to always think 2 or 3 generations down the road about what's going to happen to the sport of bass fishing. We can't be greedy and self-centered on how we approach the sport. And that's one of the things I hate about forward-facing sonar is it's a greedy piece of technology. It's all about me. How's it going to help me catch more fish? There's nothing in it as far as the sustainability of the future goes. It's completely ignoring that. So My advice to everybody out there, whoever's listening to this, stop thinking about yourself. Stop thinking about how you can catch more fish. Start thinking about what you're going to leave behind, because you don't have much time left. I don't care how old you are. It's going to go by like that. And you have got to stand up and be responsible and hand off to the next generation something that is better than you found it before. And exploding technology and skyrocketing bass boat prices and developers that are ripping our lakes apart and bulldozing down, tree sides and cutting down 100-year-old oak trees right and left so some guy can have a $2 million weekend home that he never uses. That ain't a good thing. And it can be stopped. We just have to do the right thing, and we have to be responsible with that. We have to have a paradigm shift in how we think. And we have to stop normalizing these practices that are destructive to our sport, because that's what we've done. I have seen this, guys. There's a couple different websites out there, a couple different sites that report on tournaments, that follow tournaments and report it. And the normalization that they have created around this technology is disgusting. They don't bring up any of the negative about it. All it is, it's all in. It's all just little blinders. It's complete normalization of something that is detrimental to our sport in the long term. So anyway, I don't want to be a downer. The point of the fact is just this is a realistic video. If you guys want some type of Pollyanna, like I said, unicorn and rainbows view, there's a bunch of other YouTubers out there that'll feed you that. But if you want a dose of reality from somebody that's been in the sport for over 50 years and has seen it morph into what it is right now, just hopefully you can sort of get something about what I just told you guys or brought in front of y'all there. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about it, and appreciate you guys watching the video. We'll talk later.